What's going on, Metallurgists? Welcome to another review. I'm Marty Worm. Good to see you. I'm here today to talk to you about a long-standing European/German power metal band known as Primal Fear. I'm sure you've heard of them around these parts. And today we're going to be talking about the band's 15th studio album called Domination. So yes, Domination is Primal Fear's 15th full-length studio album, and it was released this past Friday on September 5th via Reigning Phoenix Music. If you like power metal, chances are strong that there is a large contingent of Primal Fear releases in your collection. And they're one of those bands that over the years I have amassed a few CDs, and between myself and my son, we have got probably 3/4 of their releases. But I will say, from a personal standpoint, it wasn't until 2023's Code Red that this band really connected with me, kind of blew me away. And what is it about Code Red that is different from the catalog leading up to it? Ultimately, there's not a lot of difference in the changes in their sound. This is a band that has always been very rooted in a Judas Priest style of heavy metal. And of course, they've upped the ante with double bass and soaring solos, and of course Ralf has been a titan of vocal acrobatics since his early days in Gamma Ray. But something special happened on Code Red. Can't quite put my finger on what it was. The sound of it was perfect. Even though it's clocking in at about an hour long in playtime, the way the songs are paced is perfect. The choruses on this album are electrifying and endlessly memorable. Everything within a power metal formula that you need to have. Primal Fear has always had it, but there is something about this album here that it was all on 10 for them. They got it all completely 100% correct. And the replayability of this, there were weeks that this lived in the car. I couldn't get away from it. The songs would be stuck in my head throughout the day, and that's a sign of a well-written album. So needless to say, when Domination landed in our promo inbox here at Heavy Metallurgy, I was pretty excited to check it out. And for the most part, what we have here is another solid, perhaps to a fault, Primal Fear album. Before I get into the nuts and bolts of said album, the band did undergo a pretty substantial lineup change. This was a 3-guitar band going into the writing sessions of what would become Domination. And the band is always centered around the core musicians, which is Matt Sinner from the band Sinner. He's a long-running staple in the German heavy metal community. And of course, Ralf, who I've mentioned before, he was known for being the lead vocalist for Gamma Ray for 3 albums, which were Heading for Tomorrow, Sigh No More, and Insanity and Genius. Of course, fantastic talent, fantastic vocalist for that band, but I think a lot of fans that followed Kai Hansen from Helloween were hoping for a continuation of the Helloween spirit, so to speak. So I think there are fans of early Gamma Ray, but I don't think Gamma Ray really unlocked the next level until Kai reclaimed his duties on the mic. So after that happened, Ralf moves on to Primal Fear, and they have a very long career of putting out solid and true heavy metal records throughout the decades. So needless to say, Trouble in Paradise, 3 of the members, Michael Ere, the drummer, Alex Bayrat, the guitarist, and Tom Naumann, another guitar player, they leave the band, leaving Magnus Carlsen remaining in his 6-string duties. And the band enlisted new guitarist Thalia Belazeka, who will be familiar to some of you. She used to be in the band Frozen Crown, and also I think is still in Angus McSix's band. So you've seen her around. She's a shredder, an absolute great player, and actually a very good complementary guitarist to work with Magnus, because a lot of their solo work, the trade-off solo work on this record, is really good. So after 30 years and following up a very electrifying, energized sounding later era album, how does Domination hold up against the bulk of the Primal Fear catalog? So Hey, let's dig into it. So Domination, right away. After about 2 or 3 listens, it becomes quickly apparent that the 3 songs that the band chose as the singles to promote the release of this album are the best songs on the album. Apparently, they looked at their body of work leading into this, and even though there's nothing on here that is bad, they obviously chose the correct songs to present to the public. They started off the affair with Far Away, which is easily my favorite song on the album. And after seeing the video, which is just, standard type of standing in a room looking at each other, playing guitar and performing, one cannot evade that earworm chorus. The song is solid leading up to the chorus, and once the chorus hits, it unlocks a whole nother realm of memorability, and which is something that a good power metal song is supposed to do. But the bulk of the song, you've got the driving double bass. Ralf sounds absolutely on top of his game with his performance on this song. He keeps the verses reserved, so when the chorus comes in, he ignites the melody line with his higher register. And again, it's electrifying. The guy sounds like he's in his 20s, seriously. After all these years, he's still so confident in his abilities that his performance remains playful and seemingly effortless. Again, with the excellent trade-off of solos, Magnus and Thalia add a welcome level of excitement to this track and to the bulk of the album.
You see, I leave no time to disbelieve all the seas and go so far away to find.
The next single to drop was The Hunter, which, again, this is a very well-written song. You've got excellent verses, great solo work, but it's all to the service of the chorus. Once that chorus hits, it soars with Ralf's ageless higher register crooning style. The strength of this chorus here echoes the quality found on their last album, Code Red, for me. I find myself throughout a lot of these songs biding my time in anticipation for when the chorus hits. That tells me there if the song is going to remain in my head or encourage me after the song is over to listen to it again directly thereafter. So Tears of Fire is another song that dropped down the line, and it sits within a similar tempo that the whole album resides in. There's a steady head-nodding march to the chorus. The melody lines and lilting quality of the chorus gives this one a touch of a radio-sympathetic quality. It's still undeniably heavy metal, don't get me wrong, but there is a level of accessibility here that is noticeable, and I suppose, now that I think about it, it's really a key component to a lot of the more popular European power metal out there, so probably isn't something that I should put a strike against the song on, but just going out there and saying that it has a more accessible quality that I could imagine driving through the streets of Berlin, hearing it come over the radio. Never been there. Don't know if that happens, but if so, this would be in their top 40, I would imagine. And we get to other solid tracks too, like Destroyer, where, Primal Fear have always happily basked in the shadow cast by Judas Priest. And it's tracks like Destroyer that continue on with the tradition for sure. So what you have is an unrelenting palm-muted chug riff, which hammers away at the verse so that the chorus can once again seal the deal with soaring steel-clad vocal melody lines. I mean, this is the meat and potatoes of Domination. As the album progresses, it becomes quickly evident to me that the middle part of this album suffers from a bit of sameness. You've got tracks like I Am the Primal Fear, which features a slower German metal plot in the vein of Accept and, of course, Judas Priest. The track is solid, but at this point in the album, I'm hoping for a touch of speed. And you get to tracks like Eden and also Scream. I mean, the album begins to show signs of fatigue here for sure. The band is so locked in tight to their formula, the songs begin to feel interchangeable due to a lack of identity or character in the choruses, which degenerate into the name of the song. The Dead Don't Die. This one has a phoned-in series of verses that drag us along until the melody lines open up for more of an uplifting chorus. I'm at the point in the album where I really need more than an obvious Judas Priest appreciation or recycled crunch riffs throughout the bulk of these tracks to feel engaged. But even though I'm kind of mixing up the track list a little bit here, but even though the album does tend to drag in spots, you get a nice placement of a song called Heroes and Gods. Here's a more up-tempo track that I was looking for. You have driving double bass, which forces the riffs to become sharper and more focused rather than crunchy power chords. The new drummer Andre then pushes it even further with more aggressive snare hits that even touch on a fragmented blast beat style. Kind of surprising, to be honest. The payoff, though, is a bit anticlimactic as the line "goddesses and princesses, heroes and gods" is repeated 4 times for the chorus. And there's a lot of S's for Ralf to navigate, so it sounds like he's doing a hissy snake thing. This is, in spite of all that, this is still a good song. It's just a bizarre choice of words and a slower pace on the chorus to kind of detract away from that pseudo blast beat that we had leading up to it. And other tracks like Crossfire, for example, it feels like a deep cut from Code Red, as there is more of a lively presence in the songwriting, elevated by double bass and legitimate build-up in the song that snaps us out of the long slog it felt like we underwent to get here. Is it too little too late? March Boy March. Even faster than Crossfire, and Ralf is screaming at the top of his register. This is an aggressive banger, and the album needed this. It needed more of this. I even like the more triumphant layered guitar work in the middle of the song. It really opens it up. Where this track hits in the pacing of the album, it's almost like Primal Fear realized that the middle of Domination drags, and they're attempting to end on a stronger note. So ultimately, if you subscribe to anything we talk about, especially on the album club, that, start an album strong, end an album strong. And really, they could have ended on March Boy March, and it would have felt like a proper bookend on this record. And in a lot of ways, kind of eased some of the growing pains that I had with this record leading up to it. But instead, they kind of go for a different kind of feel. They end up being a bit more melancholic on the closing song, A Tune I Won't Forget. I mean, wow. They ended it on a short and dark song. Very powerful, and we hear Ralf dip into new lows in his range and even more of a gruff style on top of it to pile on the misery. I had to check to see if this was a guest vocalist, to be honest. So if in case you haven't figured out from my description thus far, this song is a ballad. They're ending on a ballad. And it offers up a very unique and different path than the rest of the album. And the fact that they ended with this one, it left me curious if this will spill over to the next album or not. It's a very emotive song that I just had to go back to and spin multiple times before letting the album finally go silent.
Lost in the shadows of my memories, entranced but still.
So yeah, to end with that much melancholy and power in a different way, it shows that this band can stray from their formula, and they do so very well. Production, you know what? It's pristine. It's crystal clear. There really isn't much to talk about negatively here. The mix is perfect. It all sounds the way it's supposed to. They have always had good sounding records, and I think Code Red, it might have been a little bit more electrifying, but that might be due to the fact that I found the music to be a lot more electrifying as well. But the sound on Domination is perfect. You're not going to hear a note or drum fill out of place or wrong or hidden or buried. Everything is on 10. It all sounds the way it's supposed to. My final thoughts on Domination. This album is pretty good. It is 13 songs, clocks in around 60 minutes long, and it's a long 60 minutes, mainly due to the pacing, due to the fact that there's a lot of songs that rely on the same kind of palm-muted chug. There's a lot of sameness going on here, which it tends to take the energy away from the beginning and from the end of the album. And having said that, there are still moments of exceptional heavy metal music on display here. And if you are a fan of Primal Fear, I don't think there's anything here that's going to scare you away from running to the store and picking up Domination. I think they checked all the Primal Fear boxes. You got the driving double bass check. You got the absolutely skilled, confident, unique singer check. You've got amazing solo work and interplay between the guitarists check. Production, perfect, pristine, just the way you want it. Delivers through the car speakers when you're driving down the road at 70 miles an hour. Check. It's all here. It's all for you. You're going to be happy with it. But for me, it sounds like there's moments of this album where the songwriters in the band were tired, out of ideas, kind of returning to the same old well more than they should, perhaps, to get the results they needed for another album. Maybe this is due to losing, some key songwriters that were on Code Red. I don't know. I didn't check to see who wrote what. I'm just hypothesizing at this point. But, either way, I still enjoyed the album. I don't know if I'm going to run out and buy it right away. It's going to turn up eventually. I'll get it because my kid likes it a lot better than I do. And I just wish that it was about 3 songs shorter. And I think it would have made it more compact, and they could have killed some of the more long slog songs. So there you go. Power metal. I'm going to keep bringing it for you, even though most of you don't like it. But we feel it's a very important genre to include within the heavy metallurgy sphere of influence. So there you go. There's my review for Domination. I hope you got your power metal fix for the week. You don't have to believe what I'm saying. You can go listen to this album yourself online, whatever streaming service you prefer, and share in the comments what you thought about Domination by Primal Fear. Until next time, I'm Marty. I'll be back soon on Heavy Metallurgy for more reviews. If you like what we're doing here, please like and subscribe. We're trying to hit 7,000 by the end of the year. And until then, come check back with us. We're here every week with our Wednesday album club and, of course, our Friday night streams and more reviews coming for you every week. But that's it for me. Take care. We will see you next time. Cheers.
Yeah!